Welcome in to Greenville Grit, Greenville residents in touch on 103.7 WTIB. This is the local show that keeps you connected and in touch with the issues that affect what's happening in your community. Greenville Grit is sponsored by Ribeyes, Kid Construction, and Greenville Toyota. Now, here are your hosts for Greenville Grit, Terry Williams and Michael Overton.
Hello and welcome to Greenville Grit. I'm Terry Williams. Michael Overton's out this week, so I have two co-hosts today, Dennis Mitchell and Jim Blunt. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
We have a lot going on in town this week with early voting, and then looking forward to our election day on November 3rd, next Tuesday. I think early voting stops on, is it Friday? Maybe on Friday. But so I'm a little concerned about the voter turnout this week. Hasn't been. I think when my husband and I voted on Tuesday, I was like 866, and that's kind of low. And then of course we've had some rain, so I'm sure that doesn't help at all. But we really would encourage you to get out and vote, show your voice, so you'll have something to talk about like we do. So let's get going on our conversation today real quickly. We're going to talk about the bond, and we'll talk about the tax increases. But let's quickly just thank our sponsors. And we've had Greenville Toyota with us since the beginning of our show, and we so appreciate them. They are located on Memorial Drive across from the Fresh Market. So they have new and used vehicles, a great selection, so please visit them. We also have Michael Overton, the Overton Group, a full-service residential, commercial, rental, Property management. They're a full-service real estate company, and he's also been with us since the beginning. And Ribeyes. We love Ribeyes.
Yes, we do. 2
locations, Williamston and here in Greenville. So we want to really thank them for sponsoring our show and enabling us to get information out to the public. So we'll take a break here, and then we'll start our discussion on the bond and on the tax increases and anything else that we want to get in before the election.
Are you thinking about what to do for dinner tonight? That's easy. Head over to Ribeye Steakhouse on Fire Tower Road in Greenville. Ribeyes not only has the best steak in Greenville, they've got an endless salad bar made fresh daily. And if beef is not your thing, check out the delicious grilled chicken, pork, or seafood entrees. Bring the family for a great atmosphere, children's menu, and yummy desserts. Hurry on over to Ribeye Steakhouse on Fire Tower Road in Greenville. Open 7 days a week for dinner. Greenville's best steak can be found at Ribeyes. Eastern Carolina. Want big savings on a huge selection of new Toyotas? Greenville Toyota's got it. Looking for new Toyotas with discounts up to $5,000 off or payments from $139 a month? Greenville Toyota's got it. And Greenville Toyota's got the Greenville Toyota Advantage. Get it all this month at Greenville Toyota.
Up to $5,000 off MSRP on selected Toyota models in stock. Example, new 2014 Camry SE, new 2014 Corolla L Auto, 36 monthly, 12,000 miles per year, $29.95 down. Security deposit wait with approved credit. Offers exclude tax, take title, and registration, and includes $4.98 dealer fee. See dealer for details on Greenville Toyota Advantage. Offers and
BB&T Scott & Stringfellow has been a trusted financial partner for their clients since 1897. If you're looking for an experienced local partner to help you invest, retire with confidence, or to effectively pass your assets to the next generation, call Thomas Rouse, Scott Shook, or Linda Poff at 252-378-3301 to start developing your plan today. With over 50 years of combined financial industry experience, the Shook-Rouse Group of BB&T Scott & Stringfellow has the expertise to help you reach your goals.
BB&T Scott & Stringfellow is a division of BB&T Securities LLC, member FINRA SIPC. BB&T Securities LLC is a wholly owned non-bank subsidiary of BB&T Corporation, is not a bank, and is separate from any BB&T bank or non-bank subsidiary. Securities and insurance products or annuities sold, offered, or recommended by BB&T Scott & Stringfellow are not a deposit, not FDIC insured, not guaranteed by a bank, not guaranteed by any federal government agency, and may lose value. Discussions of past performance do not imply a guarantee of future results.
Eastern Carolina. Want big savings on a huge selection of new Toyotas? Greenville Toyota's got it. Looking for new Toyotas with discounts up to $5,000 off or payments from $139 a month? Greenville Toyota's got it. And Greenville Toyota's got the Greenville Toyota Advantage. Get it all this month at Greenville Toyota.
up to $5,000 off MSRP on selected Toyota models in stock. Example, new 2014 Camry SE, new 2014 Corolla L Auto, 36 monthly, 12,000 miles per year, $29.95 down. Security deposit wait with approved credit. Offers exclude tax, take title, and registration, and includes $4.98 dealer fee. See dealer for details on Greenville Toyota Advantage. Offers end at month's end.
Are you thinking about what to do for dinner tonight? That's easy. Head over to Ribeye Steakhouse on Fire Tower Road in Greenville. Ribeye's not only has the best steak in Greenville, they've got an endless salad bar made fresh daily. And if beef is not your thing, check out the delicious grilled chicken, pork, or seafood entrees. Bring the family for a great atmosphere, children's menu, and yummy desserts. Hurry on over to Ribeye Steakhouse on Fire Tower Road in Greenville. Open 7 days a week for dinner. Greenville's best steak can be found at Ribeye's.
When you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco. No matter where you go in Eastern Carolina, there's sure to be an attractive and always clean Trade Wilco Hess station nearby. For the absolute lowest prices on gas, groceries, and travel necessities, stop at any of the Trade Wilco Hess stations throughout Eastern Carolina. Keep your eyes on the road, but remember to look for the green and white Hess sign. The best part? No one supports the ECU Pirates more. So when you're on the go, it's Trade Wilco.
Washington's Harbor District is the perfect port of call this fall for the entire pirate nation. Come to downtown Washington for dining, art, antiques, and boutique shopping with 33 unique shops and 13 fabulous eateries, all located in a charming riverfront community. Downtown Washington is a fun and friendly place to be this fall for the entire family. So come shop, dine, and play in Washington's Harbor District this fall and escape the ordinary. Go to WashingtonOnTheWater.com to learn more.
Welcome back to our show today. We're going to talk about all things election. all today's show. I want to start out by talking about the bond. I know that both of you all have talked to other people about how they're feeling about the bond, how their neighbors are feeling, how they're voting. What's your view on it right now, Dennis, with how things are going? And
I'm as far as me personally, I'm kind of shaky. I go back and forth with it, because I was on the bond committee along with you, and we know what the process was like, and City Council kind of reversed course on us a little bit. So I don't know what I'm going to do as far as me personally, but I'm not hearing very positive things about the bond in the community. A lot of residents, I guess, follow the debates, follow the news around it, and a lot of residents are saying they're voting against it. That's what I'm hearing. I don't know, Jen. What about you?
Yeah. I'm actually for the bond, but unlike you guys, I didn't sit on the committee.
Right.
We spent a lot of time and effort on that, and I know y'all were a little frustrated at the end of the process. I think it could go either way now. I'm concerned about it, and I'm hoping that the people will push it over the edge, but I am concerned about it.
Well, we know we need the roads funds. We know
Absolutely.
that's very important. But I think for me, the way that they went about it, the way that they set it up, as one question, I've had a problem with it from the beginning, and I think that's what's going to resonate across the city. I think a lot of other people feel that same way. That doesn't mean, it may pass as it goes. There's a few items on there that will have to be done no matter what, and they'll find the money. They will find the money like they have for other things. I noticed the work on Elm Street has started, and that must have been part of the original $4 or $5 million that they had set aside for that. But I think one other thing that bothers me is that everybody has kept saying this was a unanimous vote with our council, and really it wasn't. That's not exactly true. That's comments I've been hearing. There were pet projects, so to speak, that were put in rather than just keeping it for roads, as was suggested, and I think that's bothered a lot of people. But when the vote came down to it that night, I believe that Candy and Rose tried to take what they wanted out and just leave it strictly for the streets and the enhancements, and that they were overridden. Am I not correct about that?
Yes, that's what happened. They were overridden on that, and it was a couple different votes that went down how they were going to do it. But in the end, we got the real issue. What people are having a problem with is the Greenway funds.
Right.
We've partially funded a Greenway with a bond, and to a lot of people that doesn't make sense.
Right.
Either you're going to fund the whole thing or you leave it out.
Right.
And then is that something you want to put on a citywide bond, a Greenville that's really only for a part of the city, only a part of the city agrees with? Because we really, really wanted to focus on the streets. Because like you said, we were on the committee. There was a lot of things we could have talked about.
Right.
And we want to talk about putting recreational activities in there. They went against the committee when we wanted to at least put a sports complex up there.
Right.
There were so many other different things. We talked about 50-something different items that we could have went with that could have really had a return on investment that increased property values that you can afford to put an extra greenway in the city.
Well, that's another thing that bothers me is the portion of funds on the question now for greenways is for the plan only. They're not going to be able to do very much more than make the plan for it. So I'm a little concerned because there is the option by the city council to move around some funds a little bit. If they get the plan done and they decide they want to go ahead and build that greenway, what this particular council could do with the 4-2 split, they could take the funds to finish it out of something else in the question and complete it. And I think that bothers people because we really want the amount that's dedicated to the roads and enhancements to stay where it is. So that being said, I think that's what makes the greenway part of it just not, doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense.
And I noticed, I read Kenny Smith's interview with Abby Bennett and her opponent today. And she, she had some time to take it back to her constituents, and, she was hearing, take out the port projects. Let's get the roads done first.
Right.
And that's why she decided to pull those projects. Right. She and Rose did. So, you have to listen to your constituents, and that's what she's done.
Well, I think, too, I was looking forward to the council going on and jumping on talking about a bond schedule, and they haven't done that.
Yep.
That was really important because if this bond does pass, it's going to be really important that they do get done what they said they were going to do within as quick amount of time as possible so that the public can see results. I was hoping that they were going to stick with the roads, get the work done, let the public see this is what we've done with the money, and then maybe in 3 years, maybe they could make a bond schedule, and maybe in 3 years we may have to come back with the Parks and Greenway bond. Who knows
Sure.
what's gonna happen down the road? It might not be in 3 years. It might have to be longer than that. But I just don't think it. I just think it's not a good idea to do it in this particular fashion that they did it in.
And then another thing that's concerning me now is doing this whole process, they're talking about it, and now you're hearing city staff come out saying that with the projections, it don't look like that taxes are going to be raised. Now, I don't think they should be saying that, for one.
No, they shouldn't.
Because that's a lot of growth. You're saying that we're going to grow, pretty much grow a cent in sales taxes every year. So I don't think they should be saying that because, what if the city doesn't grow and the taxes does raise? That's going to hurt other bond chances. But again, even if they really do believe that, then there's other items that could have been put on this bond project to go forward. The city council, we really asked for a restricted package because we were worried, the bond commission, because we were worried about a dollar amount on it.
Right.
We could have gave them a $50 million bond package if their projections actually showed growth. But we didn't because we only wanted to limit it to a 2% sales tax, and if they repealed the other, then it wouldn't be that high of an increase for the citizens. So
well, it becomes a question of confidence, too. And I think that, the lack of advocacy and marketing of the bond has a little bit to do with it because people don't really understand it. They're busy, they're raising their families, they're working, and you need to have the right pieces in place to educate the citizens.
I was going to say
that.
something about that. In previous bond package, there have been well orchestrated plans put in place where you gather, the who's who of Greenville from all different cross sections and got them a part of this. I remember last bond commission advocacy committee had about 30, 40 people.
Yeah. There were business people and others in the community.
And they were out there in the community really pushing this bond. It's like, this has been a very lackadaisical kind of like marketing campaign. We put a couple of things out there on Facebook and the city websites, send a couple people to different meetings and present on it, and that's it.
Well, the mayor can't do it so much.
No.
And, he's got his hands full.
But then on the side of the advocacy committee, you also had a separate private partnership that really put funds in it and really pushed it marketing wise. Because the city can only go out there and give you information.
That's
they can't
right.
really
They
push
cannot.
the bond.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
they did a lot of advertising for 2004, billboards, mail outs, commercials. And I think they worked on it maybe about a year before, and I think that's what's happened to this bond. In the very beginning, it's been rush and push because when the new council came in, were sworn in, their biggest concern for the first 3 months they were in office was the 4 unrelated rule. Instead of getting down to brass tacks and talking about how everything was going to affect our pocketbooks as a citywide, they did not do that, and so they wasted a lot of time at the beginning. That really, I think we could have spent more time, with advocacy and letting the public know. I have to say, I'm not sure they wanted there to be a lot of advocacy on this particular bond. I think that this was an orchestrated lack of advocacy until too late in the game, thinking that it would pass because everybody's so concerned about the roads.
Sure.
And I mean, that's just saying it like I feel. And based on that and how they set up the question, I just could not support the bond. I'm all for the roads. I think Kevin Mulligan does a fantastic job. He's got his work cut out for him, but I think that the council that's coming in is going to have their work cut out for them to go back to how you all did it when you went through the budget in your 13-minute meetings and found money. You knew there was money there somewhere to do other things, and I think they're going to have to go back to that. I think that this council, with the 4-2 split, seems to just take the easy way out every time it comes to making some of those hard decisions, and I don't think they wanted to meet with the departments. I don't think they wanted to dissect the budget. I just don't think they wanted to do it.
They don't know numbers.
So
they
instead,
don't care less about numbers.
So instead, they go with and vote in the increases and there have been 12 voted increases, 2 of which have not taken effect yet, will take effect in 2016. And also, I'm sure you all heard when Scott Elliott talked about the property values, in which Michael and I have discussed it, and when you have too, several times on the show, that we felt like values were going to be up. And so therefore, some people, it won't be across the board, but some people are going to experience a tax increase with property values when their values are higher than they were, even if the tax rates don't change. Their assessed value might be higher, then their taxes are going to go up. And so I think what happens is every facet of their life, something's changing, is going to cost them more.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up about that tax, because there's been a lot of talk about the tax increases on the city council. I mean, spin kind of a little bit on both sides.
Right.
But you're absolutely right. This city council did vote 12 tax and fee increases. Now, the spin argument that's on the other side, that's on the negative side of these tax increases, they're saying, well, one of those tax increases we voted we couldn't do, the privilege license tax.
Right.
Well, you still voted for it.
They voted for it.
And well, we voted a tax decrease. You corrected a mistake, but you still voted for an increase.
That's
right. Even though the city manager was telling you didn't need it, we have all these funds you can raise from. You had other council members saying that you didn't need it. You went on and voted an increase. So the city did get a year of that tax value back. So you can't take credit for making a mistake and fixing it.
That's exactly
you voted an
right.
increase up. And another spin that I just got to say, 'cause everybody know that, I love our council member at large, Calvin Mercer. But his spin he's going over 10 years saying, since 2007, I have a net tax decrease record. Come on now. The last 2 years,
that doesn't
you
fly.
raised taxes 12 times. People need to know that. And the spin they're using is trying to take credit for the GUC decreases that just happened last month to say overall people are paying less. Maybe not if you live in the perfect $150,000 home.
Right.
Your electricity bill, your utilities bill is this amount, a certain average amount, but it's not like that for everybody. So you really can't go with that argument that everyone's paying less than they were before. Overall, if you're a citizen in Greenville, your taxes has went up, and that's what people need to know in this election.
That brings up a good subject. Just going out and talking to folks in the business community and backing up for a second on the bond. I've talked with some very successful real estate developers and business guys in town that I respect a lot, and that first thing they say is, we got to pass the bond, we got to have the roads, but I ain't hearing some very good things about the public support behind it. So that was one concern I have. And then it's interesting, I live in a fairly conservative district, District 5, and what I just talking to the neighbors, I mean, they all are locked in on this tax increase, the 12 tax increases, the ads that are out there now, and
the tax and spend
the tax and spend friends. And I think that you have to play the hand you're dealt sometimes, and they're going to have to move through this, and hopefully this next council will see that don't spend time backing up to what you're talking about. The first 3 or 4 months they spent time on the 4 unrelated and the other issues. Spend time on progressive and positive projects moving forward.
Well, and we've talked about that too. Been very concerned about economic development. And I think something should be cleared up too. I know comments have been made by some of the council members about the turnover in city staff and trying to blame that on our mayor, but I just don't think that's the case. The mayor doesn't hire, doesn't fire, doesn't interview, doesn't do that, except the city manager does that, and I'm understanding that she's been working at it hard, and she's replaced some or elevated some, like Meryl went to a different position. It was my understanding too that we had someone that was interested in economic development, and then they backed out at the last minute for whatever reason, we don't know. But people are going to move. They're going to, do things better for their families, make decisions, and sometimes maybe they do need to go. It's not always. It's not always just because we have them, keep them. And so, but the majority of the turnovers that we're talking about right now have happened in this last 2-year round of city council. I think, and this is again my opinion, that some of these people in city staff, when opportunities come up, and they don't want to have to deal with what they're dealing with now in the city council, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to take my chances in Raleigh, or I'm going to take my chances in Winston-Salem, or wherever they might go. And they're getting paid more. If we're not competitive that way, it's the same way with being competitive with tax incentives and other things and less regulations for businesses. The people who work in our city are looking for those same, just like you and I would do. Yeah. Look for a better job, a better opportunity. Where can I take my family that might work better? Sometimes it just works out that way. If anybody has to blame, I think it's the overall attitude of this current council that would cause some of our staff to leave. That's just my opinion. I'm just seeing it that way.
I've asked some of the council members about the turnover. That's been a concern of mine. I've worked very closely with Carl Reese. That was a huge loss for us. But I understand, Carl left. He's been with the city for 18 years. He's lived in Greenville most of his life. He got a great promotion. Electricities is a wonderful company.
Right.
And so I think that higher salaries, more benefits is going to lure people away. But, we need to be positive and have progressive ideas in place and move forward and work together. And that brings up the 4-2 voting block. I hear all these people saying, well, I'm just so tired of the 4-2 voting block, 4-2 voting block. All that stuff does rub off on city staff, I would think. You need to have, you need to move.
They see no change.
See no change, and they get frustrated. They're doing all this work, and nothing happens. And so you need to, regardless of who wins or loses this time, I hope that this election, people see the writing on the wall. Let's pivot and do something a little different here and move Greenville forward.
Well, they've got to recognize the different opinions. Just because there's going to be different opinions, and that's not an unhealthy situation to see all views before you're voted on. But we have several of in the 4 that won't even listen. They just cut it off and turn you off if you have a different opinion of them at all. And it seems like we've got a couple of followers that just
Well, I think we really got to look at the whole picture, and I think Eric Anderson brings this up when he debates a lot, is that it was Calvin Mercer's intention to really seriously think about running for mayor.
Right.
So by knowing that he was going to do that, he couldn't be on board with the policies of the city council. He had to create that opposition.
He was very quiet.
Very quiet, calculating, seeing where he can create those wedges or not. So, he did a poll. He was supposed to run for mayor. The poll didn't come back right. And he didn't run for mayor. So, he created that situation where, it was us versus them. Common ground came in place. It was us versus them the entire time.
Right.
And that wedge. And we didn't move forward these last 2 years at all.
No, I would like to see that change.
Absolutely.
Well, there's a couple of races I did want to talk about besides the mayor's race. But I've been really, really impressed with P.J. Conley in your district.
Yep.
And I did, I'm endorsing him. I don't live in the district. I can't vote for him, but I would. He just has a real heart and a passion for things to continue. And he has gotten out and met the public face to face.
He has.
Over 2,100 doors he's knocked on. And that has made a difference. And if you read some of the comments that have been made, thank you for coming to my door. Thank you for letting me meet you. What do you all think about that? That's the way to do it.
I live in District 5, and I've happened to have met and got to know PJ. And the positive thing about PJ running, he's young.
Yeah.
He's a young guy, and to see young people come into politics
and he's a
now,
business person.
He's a business person is a blessing because, a lot of younger crowd, they don't want to engage in politics. And PJ he's a professionally trained athlete, so he's very, very regimented and organized. Right. He played baseball here at ECU and then went on to play at the pros for the Angels for 5 years. So he understands what it's like to get up and work hard. And that's what he's done.
Right.
He has knocked on so many doors, and he's done everything the right way.
Right.
And
so
whether he comes out on top or comes short, he really has worked very hard at it. I think people are very impressed with that.
I think he's very independent, and I like that.
Yeah.
That's the way you win elections, knocking on doors, especially in a district race. I don't care if you had $0 But if you get there and you knock on doors and meet people, he has a tremendous shot of winning that election. If he knocked on 2,100 doors like he said he did,
because he didn't have that much money. His
hasn't.
financial report didn't show that.
That
much.
means nothing. You shake a person's hand, that's who they're gonna remember.
Yeah.
When they go vote. So that means that's a race to watch.
And then we have a very active candidate going against incumbent Miriam Blackburn in District 3, McLean Godley, and he's also done a great job. He has new energy. He has a great insight into what he thinks that district should have to keep and attract professionals, and he does have a plan in place. I had the opportunity to interview him, for his GPAT interview, which I really enjoyed talking to him, because he wants to pull that area and that district together with professionals, with professors, with students, and he's got some great ideas for people getting to know each other and learning how to operate the district. And I just think that's important.
Yeah, that you bring up a good point there. I'm serving as chairman of the University Neighborhood Association. That's in District 3, and I will say I've watched this young man, and he's very ambitious.
Yes.
And he works very hard. But at the end of the day, he understands that we've got a huge division over there between the faculty and the historic folks versus the landlords, and it's kind of worn everybody out. And I think that after this election, we all agree that let's bring everybody together and clean that neighborhood and that district up over there. And he realizes that.
And I know I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say he does support the bond.
He does.
And he talked about that and what he wants to see done there and some other ideas that he had for getting people together.
Oh, yeah. I've talked to both of them. And I'm telling you, I would love to be on council with those two guys. I mean, I think we could have really made some huge progress in the cities. Too. I think both of them both of them understand economic development.
Right.
Both of them understand quality of life, and both of them really want to boost Greenville up, like you said, bringing in young professionals.
That's right.
And making sure they have a key role in the city. So I think if they make it, and I think they both have
very good chance.
Very good shots. We're in for a very good 2 years in Greenville.
Well, and I'm hoping they'll engage the younger people to vote, to get involved, to serve on commissions and committees. That's what we need. We need them involved so much. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. You all want to talk about any of the other districts?
I think Terry Boardman.
Yeah. That's my district.
He may pull it off, and this is not even saying anything negative about Rick Smalley or anything like that. The newspaper has given him so much press because Terry has been a watchdog for all these financial issues.
A lot of people like that.
80% of what Terry's saying, especially about the city of Greenville, has been true, whether the city has admitted it or not. He's brought a lot of things to light and a lot of things that have been working on. So, I mean, if anything, boy, if Terry gets on that city council,
well,
it's going to be something to watch.
That'll be an interesting race. I mean, Rick Smiley, Rick's very organized and well-read. He studies up on his issues, but those two are such an interesting race. Very interesting race.
Right. I think so, too. Well, I've heard a lot of people say, I may not like the style of a certain candidate, and Boardman comes up sometimes, but I like what he says, and I like accountability, and I don't feel like we have it. And I think that's one thing that's
look at
also
Donald Trump.
resonating.
I mean, look at Donald Trump in the polls right now.
Terry Boardman is the Donald Trump of Greenville.
Like me, hate me, this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Well, you don't have to like any of them. You don't have to like any of them that are running, but look at the job they've done or not done. Look at the protection you feel like you have from your representatives or that you don't have. And I just think it's just really important, whatever district you're in, get out and vote, but look at those candidates that are running. And now Candy has a challenger. I haven't heard very much out of her.
At all.
Very much. I've seen a few signs, but I've seen Candy everywhere this weekend. She was going everywhere on Saturday.
She had like 7 events on Saturday. Candy is all over the place. I mean, she's always just full of energy.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're going to have to beat Candy, you got to really come out to beat Candy.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing that from her candidate. So, I mean, I think Candy has a good shot. Candy is running a race like she is the underdog.
Right.
So, I mean, she's out there working hard right now as we speak.
What I love about Candy's, she's a substitute teacher when she's not working in a normal job at South Greenville. My kids love Miss Candy.
Yeah.
And I think I picked my daughter up. She had a doctor's appointment one day last week, and there was Miss Candy in there teaching. Politic and teaching. She's wonderful.
Oh,
a lot of energy.
She loves students.
She is. Well, it will be very interesting to see how the city staff feels about the perhaps new council coming in. We'll have to see how it goes. But I'm ready. I'm ready for Tuesday to get here and count the votes, and I can't wait for us to be back next Wednesday and talk about what's happened in the election.
It's going to be an exciting day.
Yeah, it will be. I think so.
I'll bring up one thing. Bill Kalkoff, former head of Uptown Durham, came to Uptown Greenville, and he made a comment at the end of the overseeing this progress. He said, Greenville is a town trying to act like a city, and we're getting there.
That's right.
Almost 100,000. So this will be an interesting election.
That's right. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and thank our sponsors again, Greenville Toyota, Ribeyes, and the Overton Group. And you can watch us on Friday nights at 6:30 and Saturday mornings at 9:30, and tune in next week for election results.